do. And so now the question becomes to each of us, what is it that we will decide to do? I had the privilege of introducing Minister Farrakhan, and I blogged my name and found that someone had written up everything I said in my introduction of Minister Farrakhan and said that Bill O'Reilly ought to investigate this guy. He's a troublemaker. There's something to do what we need to do requires us to overcome something. Because we know the kind of training we've endured. So we relapse every now and then too. All of us, we find ourselves relapsing into some thinking that we think is all gone, but it rears its ugly head. So one of the things I said in introducing Minister Farrakhan, I said, we have to overcome something. We have to do it now too. And that's something I got from my grandmother just before she passed. On her refrigerator was the thing I'm going to tell you now that you probably heard it. For us to take advantage of our network of people, because each of you have a network of people that look up to you. They see you as the Dr. Robinsons and Mrs. Robinsons to come. They see you on that path, heading in that same direction, and they're following you, or they're listening to you, or they take advice from you. Those are the people that will respond to your call. So Dr. Robinson is asking each of us to reach out and make a similar call to the people that may view us as being worthy to follow, encourage them to register and become one of the 100,000 people that are needed to create this critical mass of folks that can be used as a starting point. But the thing we have to overcome, I got from my grandmother. And it said, once upon a time, there were 4 people. Their names were everybody, somebody, nobody, and anybody. Now, whenever there was an important job to be done, everybody was sure that somebody would do it. Anybody could do it, but most of the time, nobody did it. Predictably, when nobody did it, everybody got upset. Because after all, it was everybody's job. Right. But everybody was so sure that somebody would do it that nobody could imagine that nobody would do it. Consequently, everybody was always shocked when nobody did it. Time and time again, everybody would blame somebody, and nobody did what anybody could have done in the first
Okay, I guess as Quad Davis says that we've heard everything that we need to hear. And just to be specific in terms of what we're asking you to do, this is very simple. It's not complicated at all. The first move that we're making is that we're trying to reach 100,000 people that think like you do. So, as Quad Davis says, everyone in here has a network of people. So we're going to ask you to do 2 things, really. First thing is that we're going to be sending out press releases periodically about what we're doing, the updates and things like that. So the first thing we need to do is that when you get a press release from us, we want you to send that out to your network. That's number 1. Number 2 is that we're asking you to send us, if you feel so inclined, send us the names of people that think like you and their email addresses so that we can add them formally to our email list so that when we send a press release out, we'll already have 100,000 names. Now, why is the 100,000 names important? See, what we what we view you all as, and we view ourselves a part of, is what we would call the cultural nationalist community. Now, Kosovo, I was sitting here one night and she was explaining something to me that I had never thought about, but the more I thought about it, you know, the easier it was to see. She was saying that there's basically 5 groups in our community. That you got the educators, you got the religious groups, you have the business people, you have the cultural nationalists, and there was one more, and the political. And they tend to socialize and network with each other in those various groups. Now, when we look at the job that we need to do, our position is that the cultural nationalist people are the people that we see as providing the vision. Okay, because it's not about money, it's not about political power, it's not about converting somebody to a specific religion or anything like that. So we see you all as providing the vision and the mentality, the kind of mindset that we need to move this piece forward. The next community that we see where we have reached out to form an alliance with is the business community, because that's where the money is. Now, when I think of cultural nationalist organizations, and some of y'all might get upset, but you know, we all family, so I'm just gonna put it out here. When I think of a cultural nationalist organization, I think of an organization got good intentions, but they always broke. All right, and they always doing things with spit and glue, on a shoestring budget, 2 minutes before showtime, in a Negro hookup manner. That's the way that's what I see. That's what I think. All right, because there's never any money there to make it happen the way it's supposed to happen. Now, we're not talking about no Negro hookup Amos and Andy movies. All right, everything we're talking about is first class. So that means that we need money. So what we did is that we started, when we reached out with that first press release, and I was saying that there were some interesting people that had come back to us, we managed to really make some inroads with people in the business side. Because when you talk about doing a motion picture, what are you talking about? You're talking about business. If you sat down with Spike Lee, like Dr. Robinson sat down with Spike Lee and told him about the movie that he wanted to make, what do you think Spike Lee said?